Hey everybody, in this video I'm going to show you how I took an old bench seat out of a passenger van and made myself a rolling shop bench. It's for something I can take breaks on and basically hang out in the shop when I'm not working and doing projects. We're going to start immediately with the frame I used to bolt this down to. So let's just jump right into it and let's get started. So I know I need two boards at 28. I'm going to cut one off of this board and then the other off the other board. That way I know I have enough length for two off of each board, what's left over. So we're going to go ahead. I cleaned up the edge on this one and I'm about to cut 28 off of this one now and trade them over and cut 28. Alright, that's 2 at 28. Now what I'm going to do is take my two 28s and center them in between the bars to where they're going to bolt on, and then I can get my length once I know where these are going to be set. So let's do that real quick. Now I got these boards underneath here, and what I did was I used this flange that the bolts held the seat to the truck. I basically measured over a ½ inch, and you can see they sit higher than the board. So this bar needs to be set into the 2x6 just a little bit. What I want to do is take this pencil and mark right on the board where I got them set. And then I'm going to set the dado blade up and make a groove so they set in flush. Yeah, so with these marks here, I already have one there. I'm going to measure across, and it looks like the board length is going to be about 45. I'm going to make this a lot wider groove so that it sets in there, and it's going to be probably set to a depth of a shy ½ inch so that this sits flush and I can bolt them down. So you see with a closer look, I now have that flush to the board with that pocketed. So my measurement actually came out to a 45¼ to the length of the next board. And we're gonna have to pocket the boards together. I don't want to raise it any higher so that all I'm raising it is 1.5 inches. So we're gonna cut pocket for the other board to fit into, so both boards are going to have to be pocketed to receive each other, to not raise this any higher than the 1.5 inches that we already have. So we're going to go move over to the saw and cut the 45¼ Okay, so basically what I did was squared these up and got my marks where I needed them so that I could dado half of this board out, half of this board out, so when they sandwich together they will only be 1.5 inches wide. Rather than raising it 3 inches with the boards, it'll only be 1.5 inches. So I got the saw all set up. I'm about to saw all these corners. Alright, I got that cleaned up a little bit, but you can see that that's going to be dadoed to where the other board sits in there. I could square it up, but this is going to be a lot of cutting and getting to the point where assembling, so I'm going to turn the camera off and get all these cut and see where we're at from that point. Okay, so where I'm at, I basically dadoed out all that material there on both sides of the board and made it to where they fit into each other, and took the other side and made countersunk screw holes. What I usually do is just go 3/4 in, 3/4 down, halfway, 3/4 in, and where that other board met it, made sure it was 3/4 off of that. So these are all countersunk, and this is ready to be glued up and screwed, and it has to be squared up. So I actually want to glue this side, so make sure everything's glued really well. And I just got cheap Harbor Freight brush, and I'm just making sure this is really coated with glue. And we're going to flip this over. Meet this. Meet this. At 53.5 heavy. 53.5 heavy. So we're going to screw this in right here. Alright, it's all screwed up, and I'll take this and clean off all the excess glue. once I get the holes marked out, drilled out, I'll paint this. Seems pretty solid. It should be able to have the casters put on, and we should be able to bolt it to the frame. So I'll be back after I get this painted. Okay, so paint is dried. I got about 2 coats on it. I felt that was all that was really necessary for it. Looks pretty good. I installed 3 of the casters and actually felt that the underneath needed a little bit more structure. So I went and bought these decking plates. Basically, they were a little thin, so I wound up doubling them up and screwing them to the bottom where the seams are. I felt that the weight pushing down in the middle here might split this 2x6 right down to here. The front side's supported by this front rail right here, but this was a weak point. So I just went ahead and did all 4 seams with these plates and some panhead screws, and put the lags through for the bottom of the seat to be bolted down too. So right now I'm going to get you zoomed in on this corner here, show you how I installed the casters and these plates. Okay, for these casters I went ahead and drilled a small pilot hole in all 4 sides, and I'm using a panhead number 3 tipped screw, and they were fairly easy to put in. And they're nice and secure. They were 1.5 inches, so they're actually adding to the screws going this way, and I put 6 screws going that way, so it's sandwiched together really nice. This caster really isn't going anywhere. Those 4 are going to hold it really nice. Now these plates, they have a slight overhang, and I was cutting down this line right here. So I'm going to go ahead and get these cut, and I'm going to show you how I installed these. Taking a standard set of metal shears, I found that line that I wanted to cut. I like to put the pressure down on the table too. Gives it a little bit more stability. Going right along the back side of those dots. Flipping it over. Give it a little final snip. There's my plate. Do it again. Right down the back side of those dots. Awesome. Now these holes line up, and they'll be short enough to fit in between this 2x6. Okay, with these plates, I just lined them up, got the holes where they needed to be, made sure my center ones were a little bit over this board so that I could use that center hole to screw through. So I did this one at a time until I got it squared up where I needed it to be. Alright. Then I will get this other one right here. And I put about 10 of them in. I felt like that was enough. So Now I'll show you where I'm at. I got the bolts through the frame of the seat. I put a washer, and right now I'm going to tighten down the nut. I'm using a 3/4 combination wrench, and my impact with, well, that's a 19 millimeter, but it should be 3/4 as well. So that's backwards. I'm getting it somewhat snug. Got all 4 of them on. Should be done. So this was a fun project. I am so glad to finally get this bench on rolling casters. I have spent the last year probably pushing it back and forth around the garage, making room for whenever I needed to work on projects. The one thing I would do differently is use 3-inch casters instead of 4-inch casters. I'm standing at 6'3" and my feet barely touch the floor. So anybody shorter than me probably won't be very comfortable in the seat, but I'm good with it for right now. And those could always be changed out later, and I could use these casters somewhere else. My initial reason for actually buying this was to put it in my van. I ripped this and the seat belts out of an old church passenger van and wound up bringing it home and never putting the subfloor in, and the prices of plywood just went through the roof, and I've just been waiting ever since for to see if the prices will come down. At this point I need warmer weather anyway for the glue to probably set, so it's going to be a while until I think about even installing this into my van. So for now, this is a good alternative. Hallelujah, now I got a shop bench. So as for now, if you can hit the like button and subscribe, I'll be doing a whole bunch more projects like this. Just stay tuned and I'll be back. Thanks.